Dear Diary, I apologize for not completing Amara's story the other time. But after her mother went to see her teacher, she was called. Her mother then began interrogating her. Amara, are you sure? Tell me the story yourself. Tell me. She narrated everything. And her mother said, are you sure? Are you really sure? Amara says, Auntie Marian, I have never been asked one question so often that I was confused. She said she cannot count the number of times she was asked if she was sure. She says that at a point she wasn't sure because she was asked so often, so frequently that she was asked, are you sure, so often that she began to doubt herself. She said after a while, her teacher asked her that she should narrate the story one more time, and she did. Her mother began to cry. She said her mates at that time had started peeping through the window, had started wondering what was going on. And when she came back to class, everybody, Amara, what happened? Amara, what has happened? Everybody was asking. Her mother didn't go home. Her mother went to her friend's house. So after school, she and her siblings also joined her. Amara never got the opportunity to go back to her grandmother's house. So she never saw her uncle at the time again. Neither did she see her grandmother. But her mother and her brothers went back home. One night, her mother came there to her friend's house and picked up Amara to her mother's house. When Amara got there, there was a sitting. Her grandmother was there, her step-grandfather was there, her step-uncle was there. There were two elderly men there who were relatives as well. And then her mother went with her. Her mother didn't tell her anything on their way. Mind you, Amara was still 9. When they got there, with all these people there, she was asked to narrate the story again. Immediately she said that I could feel the chills and the cold feet she would get because it wouldn't be easy talking to all these people. She said she narrated the story. Before she could finish, Amara's grandmother, her mother's mother, Amara being the only daughter of her mother, and Amara's mother being the first daughter of Amara's grandmother. Amara's grandmother just jumped up and said that you are a liar, you are a liar. No wonder your father's family says you are a witch, you are a liar. It's only because your uncle is in the Bible school. You're just one of those challenges and all those witchcraft issues they want to bring across. You're one of those trials, but I know that it will not work. This was Amara's grandmother. She wouldn't let anyone talk. She wouldn't let Amara talk. Then Amara says her mother also jumped in. Amara's mom, she's quite an action woman. Like I said, I've met her. So it was grandmother against mother and mother against grandmother. Amara at that point was confused. Was it worth even saying anything? Was it worth talking about it? Now she's going to break a family. Then at that moment, her grandmother says that, I knew I will regret for taking you people in. I knew it. This is your witchcraft, witch daughter. Amara said at that moment, she knew she was just all alone, all by herself. But her mother took a stance for her. That same night when they went to the room, the matter was never concluded. But she said something interesting. as the talks were ongoing, her uncle kept holding a Bible to his chest, like someone going through tribulations, falsely being accused. And she kept calling out to her uncle, "Uncle, you know what I'm saying is true. Tell them." She says her uncle will look up in the sky, will look at her, shake his head, and still cling onto his Bible. Amara was 9. She probably didn't even know what was in the Bible that her uncle was clinging on to. But she knew the man was lying. When they went to the room that night, like I said, she says the conversation was never complete. Her mother packed her vests, her underwear, yeah. And that's all she had, and then her uniforms. And then the next morning, Amara was sent to the boarding house with a chop box, 1 bar of key soap in there, and a bowl of gari. And she said, "Auntie Marian, when I carried it, I could feel the 2 items shaking in the box. Because when I tilted, they all come to the left. And then when I tilted the right, they all come to the right." And we had a good laugh. I was happy she was laughing in the midst of this. This was the beginning of her boarding house life. And there she stayed until she completed school. Amara passed her exams in flying colors, but she never saw her grandmother, her uncle, until after over 20 years. She says this issue was never discussed in her family again. She says her mother and her grandmother reunited. She says her uncle and other uncles and aunties and her mom meet at gatherings, and this issue has never come up again. Amara is still confused whether her mom and every other person even believed her. She still asks herself the question, was it worth sharing? Should I have gone ahead? Should I have probably listened to my uncle? These are the words of Amara. She says that even after days, her mom's friend would also ask her, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" She says that for her only exoneration is, till date, her uncle can never look at her in the eye, neither can her grandmother. But what I ask myself is this what one would have to go through when you have to speak the truth about being touched, being offended? A 9-year-old. Do we accommodate this in our society? Do we accept such confessions? Do we even try to investigate to know more? And about her uncle, I wonder what he sought from her. Because from her words, he had a fiancé. He's now a pastor, by the way. He has his own church. Maybe he still lives with the guilt. Maybe he doesn't. There are so many girls like Amara. Some may never speak. Some have regretted speaking. And some are speaking. There are also some girls who are telling lies. But in all these, everybody's got a story. Sometimes it's just one of the stories. I'm grateful to Amara for sharing this difficult part of her life with us. and diary. Anytime I have to pen down these words, I do it in confidence that there are so many stories similar to these ones out there. You can share in our comment box, but remember to subscribe, like, and also share Auntie Marian's diary with the world. Don't forget to ring a bell. You never know when the next episode is up. See you.